encabezados de los principales diarios nacionales e internacionales.
In 2026, TV America's News invites you to follow our daily podcast featuring headlines from top national and international newspapers.
En Boschetti Truman le invitamos a consultar a su abogado personal y conozca MIA, nuestra inteligencia legal y regulatoria diseñada para todos los sectores.
Boschetti Truman, powered by MIA, our legal and regulatory intelligence designed for the public, business, and citizen sector.
All right, so it's Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. And I want you to picture, the classic high-powered executive.
Okay.
You're probably thinking, someone glued to a Bloomberg terminal, right? Obsessing over Q1 projections.
Answering emails at 2 in the morning.
Exactly. But according to the briefing we're looking at today, that whole archetype, it's dead. Or, well, it's dying.
It's definitely becoming a liability. The entire model is shifting.
Right. And we're digging into this concept they call the CEO total. And what really strikes me here is that this isn't just about business strategy.
No, not at all.
It's this argument that you can't effectively run your company, the macro world, if you haven't mastered your own biology, your own home, your micro world.
Exactly. It's the idea of sovereignty, but applied to leadership. Sovereignty of your data, sovereignty of your food, and, sovereignty of your body.
And if you're leaking energy or data in your personal life,
then you are compromised in the boardroom. Simple as that.
So to navigate all this, we're doing a deep dive into the daily briefing from TV America's News. It calls itself the Communication Diary for the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean. And honestly, this edition reads less like news and more like a survival guide for decision makers.
It's a cheat sheet. That's what it is. It's designed to be read in 5 minutes, but the implications of these bullet points could determine if a business even survives the next decade.
It covers everything from massive geopolitical shifts in the Pacific Alliance to
the ingredients in your dog's treats.
Which sounds completely ridiculous at first.
It does. It absolutely does.
But I get the feeling you're going to tell me it's all connected.
In 2026, it is absolutely all connected. The additives in that dog food and the trade agreements in Mexico, they're part of the same story. A global move toward clean systems and away from synthetic, vulnerable ones.
Okay, well, let's start with the big picture then, before we get to the dog food.
Right, the geopolitics.
The briefing highlights a major event happening today, January 28th, with the Pacific Alliance.
Yeah, this is the geopolitical anchor of the day. We're seeing the transfer of the pro tempore presidency of the alliance. It's moving from Colombia to Mexico.
And usually these things are just photo ops.
Right, totally. Handshakes, boring speeches. But the briefing points out this really specific shift in language that investors need to be watching.
They're not talking about tariffs or manufacturing quotas.
No, they're talking about regional food sovereignty.
That's the key phrase.
That is the key phrase. Mexico is using this presidency to launch a biotech investment fund. But, and this is so critical, this isn't the kind of biotech we saw in the 2010s.
So not funding GMOs just to sell more pesticide.
Exactly not. The briefing specifically mentions native corn.
Right.
They are funding technology that scales and protects native genetics. The goal is stated very explicitly: reduce dependence on foreign patented seeds.
Okay, let's pause on that. Why is patented seeds the enemy here? Is this just, nationalism?
It's economic security. I mean, think about it. If your entire agricultural sector relies on seeds that are the intellectual property of some conglomerate on another continent, you don't have food security.
You have a subscription service.
You have a subscription service, exactly. And Mexico is saying, we are breaking the subscription. They're moving to glyphosate-free processes and native biology.
So if I'm an investor and I'm holding on to those legacy agrochemical stocks, this is a huge red flag.
It's a massive divestment signal. The money is moving from chemistry to biology. The tech of 2026 isn't the chemical you spray on the corn. The tech is the corn.
And speaking of Mexico and branding, we're about 500 days out from the 2026 World Cup.
Guadalajara and Monterrey are in full prep mode.
And the briefing mentions biometric tourism identity.
Yeah, this is a fascinating blend of, hard surveillance tech and soft cultural power. We all know biometrics are standard now, face scanning for entry, for transit, payments.
It's efficient, but it can feel a little dystopian.
Welcome to the machine,
Yes,
really.
so why?
But Mexico is wrapping that entire interface in Huichol and Aztec art. They're calling it Mayan branding.
But is that just a coat of paint?
Yeah.
Here's a QR code, but it looks like a pyramid.
I think it's deeper. It's a psychological play. By integrating that deep cultural heritage into the high-tech interface, they're softening the surveillance blow. They're saying, we are high-tech, but we are ancient.
So it turns a security step into a cultural experience.
It becomes a luxury strategy.
Yeah.
It differentiates them. It's not just a generic airport scanner. It's a Mexican experience.
Okay, let's slide down the map to Colombia. They just handed over the alliance presidency, but they are flipping the switch on some huge infrastructure today.
The Caribbean submarine cable.
Zero latency.
Zero latency. I mean, for the digital economy, latency is just friction. It's lost money.
Of course.
So Colombia is launching this cable, but look at how they're selling it. They're not just pitching it to banks in Bogota. They're pitching it to that CEO total with a program called Nomads with Roots.
Nomads with roots. That sounds like a contradiction.
It's brilliant marketing, though. We've had digital nomad visas for years, right? Come work from our beach. But this is different. This is a tax incentive for foreign CEOs to move their HQs to rural zones.
So not the capital city. Out in the countryside.
You're in the coffee region. You're on a hacienda. But because of that new cable, you have a zero latency connection to Wall Street or London. You get high-speed execution for your business.
But your family gets this agro-study ecosystem. It's lifestyle arbitrage.
That's the perfect term for it. You're trading the glass tower for a farm without losing connectivity. And for the burnt-out executive, that is the ultimate luxury. High performance, low stress.
Let's keep moving south. Kourou, the port of Shaanxi. Now, logistics can be a bit dry, but there's a phrase here that jumped out at me: technology of origin.
This is all about the Uva Digital, the digital grape. Kourou is sending its first mass shipment of table grapes to China using 5G freshness monitoring.
Okay, explain the 5G part. I mean, we've had tracking numbers on containers for decades.
We know where the container was. We didn't know how
Yeah.
it was. These new shipments have sensors inside the crates, monitoring humidity, sugar content, decay, temperature, all in real time. The data is beamed out over 5G networks.
So the buyer in Shanghai knows if the grapes are going bad before they even get there.
Precisely. They've already cut transit time to 21 days, which is amazing, but the real product isn't the grape anymore.
It's the data integrity.
Yes. Peru is proving they can deliver freshness as a verifiable metric, not just a promise. That is technology of origin.
It feels like the theme across this whole region is trust. Trust in the seed, trust in the grape, trust in the connection.
Because trust is the absolute scarcest commodity in 2026.
Which brings us to a place where trust is eroding fast, the intersection of health and big business. This next segment of the briefing focuses on the U.S., and frankly, it's pretty alarming for the corporate food world.
We're looking at the Senate Health Committee hearing that's happening today. It's called The Cost of Chronic Disease. But the driving force is this policy framework that's mentioned, MAHA.
Make America healthy again.
It's a catchy slogan, yeah, but the briefing suggests it now has real regulatory teeth. Specifically, this thing called the Transparency of Lipids Law.
This is the moment where health stops being just a lifestyle choice.
And starts being a legal liability. The government is finally cracking down on industrial seed oils. We're talking soy, canola, sunflower, all those cheap oils that are in almost every single processed food.
The briefing is incredibly blunt about it. It just says throw away or donate any product with industrial seed oils, recommends tallow or butter instead.
Which is a huge return to pre-industrial food. But here's the deep dive insight. It's not just about nutrition. The expert commentary suggests that using these inflammatory oils is now becoming a potential class action liability.
Walk me through that. How do you sue a company for using canola oil? It was FDA approved for years.
So are cigarettes.
Yeah.
The argument that's forming in 2026 is that the science on chronic inflammation and its direct link to these oils is now undeniable.
So food companies know these things drive metabolic disease.
But they keep using them because they're cheap. Well, that starts to look an awful lot like the tobacco lawsuits of the 90s.
So if I'm a food CEO, I'm looking at my ingredient label and I'm seeing a ticking time bomb.
Exactly. You are the new big tobacco. And the market is already reacting. I mean, look at the note about Amazon. They're closing physical stores to focus on Whole Foods Digital.
And using AI to block additives, it says.
Yes. The shopping interface is becoming a health filter. So imagine you're shopping online, you try to buy some cube crackers. The AI pops up and says, this product contains industrial seed oils, which flag a metabolic risk. Purchase blocked.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you eat that.
Basically. But it means that if your product isn't clean, you literally can't even get it in front of the consumer anymore. The algorithm just rejects you.
And Puerto Rico is taking this a step further. They've declared a state of emergency for influenza. But their solution isn't just about importing more drugs.
No, they are leaning hard into sovereignty of natural pharmacy. They're pushing the population to use local acerola.
That's the cherry-like fruit, right? Super high in vitamin C.
Incredibly high. But the point is, they're prioritizing local biology over imported chemistry. It's about resilience. If the supply chain for meds breaks down, the acerola trees are still right there.
And they're doing the same for energy. The Supreme Court in Puerto Rico just ruled against sun taxes.
This is huge for business continuity. The ruling prohibits the government from taxing solar energy. It's a huge encouragement for industrial microgrids.
So if I run a factory in San Juan, I'm not relying on the public grid anymore?
You build your own power plant on the roof. You become an island within the island.
Self-reliance.
That is the very definition of sovereignty.
Okay, so the world is getting stricter about what we eat, how we power our businesses. But what about the humans running them? The CEO total can't just be a robot. Segment 3 here looks at culture and wellness.
And this is where we see a real shift in how we define value. Look at Chile. They're implementing the right to disconnection.
We've heard of this concept. Bosses can't email you on the weekend.
Right, but those laws are usually toothless. Chile is turning it into a financial instrument. The central bank is offering corporate wellness bonuses to companies with low burnout rates.
Hold on, so the central bank pays you to let your employees sleep.
Indirectly, yes. They offer better financing rates. They've finally realized that burnout is a drag on the entire GDP. A sick, tired workforce is an unproductive workforce.
So mental health becomes a financial metric on the balance sheet.
That's the game changer. It monetizes rest.
Wow.
And Spain is doing something similar with environment, this Gaudi Digital project in Barcelona. It started as AI for managing tourism, but the data is now reshaping office design. They call it organic aesthetics.
So no more gray cubicles and fluorescent lights.
No, the data shows that acoustic ecology, so using soundscapes of local ecosystems like the ocean or a forest, it reduces executive cortisol levels by 18%.
So the high-performance office of 2026 sounds like a jungle.
It sounds like nature. Because our brains process natural sounds efficiently. The hum of a server room, the buzz of a printer, that creates cognitive load.
The sound of rain doesn't.
Exactly. It's about optimizing the biological hardware of the leader.
Which brings us to the Dominican Republic. They're making a play for the best talent with this digital leader visa.
Right, and the perk that caught my eye wasn't a tax break.
No, it was the metabolic health insurance.
Isn't that fascinating? They aren't just insuring you against a car accident. They're insuring your metabolism. They want leaders who are metabolically healthy because those leaders have better cognitive function, better longevity.
They want the CEO total.
And they're pairing that with a logistics promise. E-commerce of identity, shipping luxury goods to Europe in 36 hours.
But the seal they're using, Hecho con Amistad.
Made with friendship. In a world flooded with AI-generated content and robotic manufacturing, what is the ultimate luxury?
Human connection.
Exactly. Made with friendship signals that a human being cared about this object. It's an emotional premium. It's the sovereignty of identity versus the anonymity of the machine.
That brings us perfectly to the final section, the micro world. The stuff happening inside your own house.
Right.
And I have to say, for a CEO briefing, I was surprised to see so much focus on dogs.
The mere nutrition concept.
As you eat, so eats your dog.
It's the ultimate litmus test for the CEO total. I mean, if you are obsessed with clearing seed oils from your own diet because you want to be a high performer.
Why are you feeding your dog kibble full of red dye 40 and corn syrup?
It's a total contradiction. And the briefing gives this 3-ingredient rule for treats.
If it has more than 3 ingredients, just don't buy it.
Right. It suggests dehydrated meat, maybe a piece of apple or pumpkin puree.
Pumpkin puree.
Great for fiber and digestion. But the point isn't just about being a good pet owner. It's about consistency. You can't claim to value sovereignty of the body and then introduce toxins into your own household through your pet.
And they're even tracking this now with BioTracking collars.
That's the tech angle.
Wow.
We wear Aura rings. Now the dog wears a tracker. And the reason is that the dog is the barometer of the household.
The canary in the coal mine.
Exactly. If the dog's heart rate variability is chaotic, it means the home environment is stressful. If your dog is stressed, it's very likely you are stressed.
So I check my dog's data to see if I need to calm down.
It's a biological feedback loop.
Finally, there's a branding exercise here for the humans. The mirror task. And this one feels like a direct response to the AI age.
It absolutely is. The task comes from the National Chamber of Arts. You take a napkin, a pen, and you write, "My business exists because."
Okay.
But you are forbidden from writing anything about money, profit, or shareholders.
So my business exists because I want to buy a boat is a fail.
Automatic fail. You have to rate the human reason. My business exists because parents deserve peace of mind, or because childhood should be magical.
Why does a CEO need to do this on a napkin?
Because of AI. An AI can write a perfect mission statement about synergy and operational excellence. It can sound very professional, but an AI cannot replicate a genuine, messy, emotional human why.
So that narrative on the napkin, that's the one thing the robot can't steal.
That is your sovereignty of identity. That's your safety shield.
Yeah.
If you lose that, you're just a commodity.
We have covered a huge amount of ground here.
Yeah.
From native corn in Mexico to metabolic visas in the DR, all the way to bio-tracking dog collars. It feels like a lot of different pieces.
It feels scattered, but if you step back, you see it's all one picture. It's a shift from the efficiency of speed to the efficiency of sovereignty.
Right. The old efficiency was answering 100 emails in an hour.
Which just leads to burnout.
The new efficiency is making sure your food isn't poisoning you, that your legal standing is secure, and that you own your data.
As the source puts it, a leader who dominates their micro world, their home and health, has the moral authority to dominate their macro world, their company and market.
That's the CEO total.
That is the goal.
Now, we did mention a few institutions today. The Agri-Food Councils of the Americas and the Caribbean, the National Chamber of Arts. The briefing positions them as the gatekeepers of this new way of living.
Yeah, they're the ones setting the standards. They offer certifications like the Blue Book, and the books are free logos. In this new economy of trust, those seals are going to be really important.
They signal to the consumer, we aren't poisoning you, and we value culture.
Pretty much. So look for the Blue Book.
To our listener, if you want to stay plugged into this flow of information, the source is TV America's News. They're the ones curating this whole community on social media. It's worth a follow if you want to keep your head above water in 2026.
And they leave us with a provocative question for the day, and I think this is a really good one to chew on.
I'm still thinking about the napkin, honestly, but what's the question?
The question is, what specific task will you cross off your list today to secure your sovereignty of identity?
Is it tossing the seed oils from your pantry? Is it doing that napkin exercise? Or is it just turning off your phone at 7 p.m. and listening to the ocean?
Whatever it is, do it today. Don't wait for the macro world to fix it for you.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening. Go dominate your micro world.
Until next time.